Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
2 certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only 2 best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go.
So I was already feeling guilty because, as you guys know, I gave Rachel a cold that I had gotten from the plane when I was traveling. And now it has devolved into full-blown bronchitis.
Okay, it's not that bad. I really don't even know that it's bronchitis. I have a suspicion that it's bronchitis. I'm not even coughing that much.
Well, it's lingering too long.
Yeah, I mean, like,
to be a cold anymore.
It's not. Yeah, no. I
just feel bad.
I think it's very mild. But when it rains, it pours. Like, of course, we're trying to like create a course and launch it in just a couple of weeks now.
Yeah,
and August 20th, and of course, you know.
That's always when these things hit. When it's super convenient.
So, I mean, it is what it is, which is, again, why we said we're not writing any new blogs while we're working on this course. And
especially now.
Not now. No. So
which one are you bringing back then?
Well, we talked about it on this past Friday's Dear Rachel. So I just figured let's just bring it back.
Oh, the one where I was like, oh, you guys can go listen to this one. And then I realized we haven't recorded this one for the podcast.
Well, you didn't realize. I told you, but yes.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until you told me. This is a good one. I figured it should be on there.
Well, we talked about it because one of the questions we answered in that episode was about someone who was trying to make a choice between 2 seemingly good options. But how do you choose? And you reminded her that there's no choice that comes without a shit sandwich. Like, you can't find a choice ever that has no downsides. It's just which downsides do you want, which is what this blog is about. And I love the concept of shit sandwiches. It has really helped me contextualize a lot of decisions that I've made over the years since understanding this term. And it helps you just be more of a realist.
Definitely. And we've mentioned this concept before in previous podcasts, but we've never had anything dedicated to this topic, and I think it deserves it. So I'm glad you're bringing it back.
Yeah, if you want to hear us talk more about it, we do talk about it in the Big Magic Book Club episode we did last June. I mean, literally like June 2018. We did the first bonus book club episode ever about Big Magic, where she writes about this, among many other things. And then again, we talked about it, and we've talked about it probably in 18 episodes, but the one we most recently talked about it in was last Friday's Dear Rachel. So you should check that out too. And I'll link to both of those at the end.
All right, let's hear it.
The shit sandwich. I'm living a very different life than I thought I would be 4 or 5 years ago. It's easy when you're looking ahead to the future to visualize only the golden, stellar, awesome parts. I mean, obviously, right? Who sits around visualizing the mundane and tedious and frustrating bits of their future? I mean, I certainly didn't. All I saw 4 or 5 years ago was a life of purpose and ease, days full of meaningful client sessions, bountiful green juices, leisurely yoga afternoons. You know, basically your stereotypical cool girl Instagram feed. Eye roll. Flash forward to the present, and I think I've been to yoga once in the past 6 months, and I still don't own a juicer. I do have plenty of clients, and they certainly fill my career with meaning and purpose, as does hosting this podcast, writing blogs, and leading our online programs. But in my rosy visualizations, I never pictured what owning a business is actually like. The unpredictable income, the necessity of playing almost all of the roles that would normally be divided among a team, the long days, the sense of responsibility for keeping it afloat. I'm not going to lie, I have days where the weight of it gets to me. And in my exhaustion and frustration, I ask myself seriously, is this worth it? That's a heavy question, isn't it? How do you even go about answering that when there's so much at stake and so many convoluted feelings that go into it? Well, I found the best way to answer it, whether the thing in question is a job, relationship, or something slightly less serious. Introducing the shit sandwich. The shit sandwich was first introduced to me by Elizabeth Gilbert in her book, Big Magic. She, in turn, got it from a popular blog post by Mark Manson. I will link to that if you want to read it. The concept in a nutshell goes like this. Everything sucks some of the time. That's normal and completely to be expected. Or put another way, if you want something, you must be willing to take the bad along with the good. If you want to be a traveling musician, for example, you accept the shit sandwich of an often chaotic life spent on the road. If you want to be married, you accept the shit sandwich of seeing someone at his or her worst moments for the rest of your lives. If you want to be a medical doctor, you accept the shit sandwich of incredibly difficult coursework, massive student loans, and 80-plus hour work weeks for years. If you want to be a parent, you accept the shit sandwich of sleepless nights, wet diapers, and complete meltdowns, also for years. If you want to be a homeowner, you accept the shit sandwich of de-icing your heating unit in the middle of a blizzard and paying for a new roof every 15 years. And if you want to be in great physical shape, you accept the shit sandwich of lifting weights and getting your heart pumping even when you're tired and don't feel like it. How this applies to your passion in life. In Big Magic, Liz talks about a writer she once knew who used to complain about not getting his work published. She writes, "I don't want to be sitting around," he would moan. "I want all this to add up to something. I want this to become my job." Even back then, I thought there was something off about his attitude. Mind you, I wasn't being published either, and I was hungry too. I would have loved to have all the same stuff he wanted: success, reward, affirmation. I was no stranger to disappointment and frustration. But I remember thinking that learning how to endure your disappointment and frustration is part of the job. If you want to be an artist of any sort, it seemed to me, then handling your frustration is a fundamental aspect of the work, perhaps the single most fundamental aspect of the work. Frustration is not an interruption of your process. Frustration is the process. The fun part, the part where it doesn't feel like work at all, is when you're actually creating something wonderful and everything's going great and everyone loves it and you're flying high. But such instances are rare. You don't just get to leap from bright moment to bright moment. How you manage yourself between those bright moments when things aren't going great is a measure of how devoted you are to your vocation. It's easy to imagine yourself blissfully following your passion, but when it comes down to it, a passionate life isn't just about the golden, easy moments. It's about when you're willing to endure, sacrifice, and sweat through the shit sandwich moments to get to the good stuff. That's how I know I'm doing the right thing. In those times when I get frustrated, overwhelmed, defeated, and over it, this is the first question I ask myself. Is eating this shit sandwich still worth it to get to do what I want to do? The answer has always been yes. Sometimes that yes has come grudgingly, but in the end, there's no other life I'd rather be living. And if eating the shit sandwich of being a business owner is what it takes to keep living this way, then I'll keep doing it. But I know plenty of people who can't say yes when asked that question. So what if you aren't sure eating the shit sandwich is actually worth it? What if you're eating a shit sandwich for something that actually isn't right for you? Often, I find people who are trying to have their cake, or maybe we should replace that with shit sandwich, and eat it too. As in, they don't like their situation, but all they want to do is complain about it rather than actually change anything. For example, I want to be a homeowner, but I don't want to deal with all the maintenance. Or I want to go back to grad school really badly, but I don't want to take on any more debt. Or I want to switch jobs, but I don't want to have to deal with explaining myself to everyone along the way. And so, caught between two things they don't want to do, they just keep doing neither while complaining about both. My rules for dealing with your own shit sandwich. I only have 2 requests of you if you're contemplating whether your shit sandwich is worth eating. 1, make a choice with limited complaining. If you want to own your own home, then you've either got to mow your lawn and shut up about it, hire someone else to do it, or decide that home ownership isn't worth it and move. And if you really want to go back to grad school but don't want to take on more debt, either accept the debt as part of the shit sandwich of getting a new education, or decide that more education isn't worth it. But no more waffling and no more whining. 2, Don't judge yourself for not wanting to eat the shit sandwich. If you don't want to eat the shit sandwich that comes with whatever you're contemplating, school, a job, a relationship, a home, having babies, whatever, that doesn't make you weak, lazy, unworthy, or lacking in something vital that other people have. It just means that you don't want it badly enough, and that's allowed. Do you realize how few things in your life you're actually going to want to eat the shit sandwich for badly enough? There's only been one job, the one I have right now, that's been worth it to me. I'm still looking for the romantic relationship that's going to be worth it. I personally think having children will be worth it, but I understand why so many people don't feel that way. There's nothing wrong with you if you decide it's not worth it. That's normal. The only thing that would be wrong is if you kept doing something you knew wasn't worth it for fear of not finding what is worth it. I'd love to hear what you think about the concept of shit sandwiches in the comments.
This Friday, instead of a normal person interview, we're going to have two of our good friends and actually two of our previous experts come on, but in a normal person capacity. And we're going to talk about people pleasing.
Yeah, I decided to have a best friends roundtable about people pleasing, wherein I will be somewhat of a moderator.
Because you're the only non-people pleaser. And the other three of us have historically been pretty bad people pleasers. Yeah. So we're going to get into it. She's going to kind of interview us.
If you want to hear three coaches talk about their experience with people pleasing in very different ways, because I think you all are slightly different versions of people pleasers and you've struggled with different varieties of it, then come back on Friday for a very special, fun. It's going to be kind of wild because it's going to be four of us all gabbing. And
we hang out in real life all the time. So you're going to hear exactly what it's like when the four of us get together.
Yeah.
But just on a podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. So come hang out with us on Friday for that. And again, just reminding you until you're dead tired of hearing it, that the new course, Getting Over People Pleasing, is going to be coming out or opening for enrollment on Tuesday the 20th. And if you want some special treats and early access even, maybe, I don't know, then you can join that VIP list.
Join the VIP list.
In the episode description. Go get on that list. And we will see you on Friday.
See you then.